Hi, my name is Haley and I'll be giving you a brief introduction and basically my experience with Gravity Sketch. So what is Gravity Sketch? Gravity Sketch is a 3D application that allows individuals to design and model products in a virtual setting. Many designers opt for designing on platforms such as this one to allow the user to share the file efficiently through online communication, in which in the long run saves the individual or company thousands of dollars in materials for prototypes. Gravity Sketch is one of the more popular design softwares that is fully compatible with the MetaQuest headset. While the platform itself does have a slight skill gap from other sculpting or drawing applications on the virtual reality headsets, Gravity Sketch is a professional level application that can create a clean and finalized result relatively quickly. Prior to creating anything in this program, Gravity Sketch is affiliated with LandingPad, which is their cloud-based file saving program. So having an active account on LandingPad will only benefit you greatly. LandingPad also allows you to send out invitations to other creators to make collaborative designs with individuals around the globe. As you can see in my little video, in the options to create a canvas, you can immediately create a collaborative world on LandingPad. And also with LandingPad, my experience personally, I've exported my files over there as well, and I can easily access them for 3D printing or to import into other programs such as Blender or any other virtual reality software. Overall, LandingPad is necessary for Gravity Sketch. To summarize the user interface, basically on your left controller, you have access to all of your brushes and different shapes and textures of brushes. As you can tell, I'm going through like the tube brush, the flat brush, and the three-dimensional shapes, also the text option. On the bottom half of your left controller, you'll have the color selector, which if you raise it up and down will change the value of the color. You can also change the hue as well, the saturation. You can also change the texture as well. Since this is a product modeling application, you can change anything. There's also a lot of swatches already pre-made into the program. As you can see here, here are some more real-life elements such as glass, metal. You have those already auto-selected, so you don't need to do any fidgeting with any of the settings to get those materials. On your right controller, you also have the toolbar, which can be easily accessed with the little button on the controller. Basically, you can just easily select any tools through there. And here I opened up the more in-depth screen for the brushes. If you're really not comfortable with the brushes that they provide automatically, you can adjust anything to completely tailor your experience. And to draw, all you gotta do is take the right trigger or the right controller and press the right trigger, and that'll just create a line. It's very similar to any other drawing program in the VR headsets. As you can see here, I'm just messing around drawing circles. And with that joystick, if you wiggle it left to right, you could change the size of your brush. But if you change it up and down, you can change the size of your grasp. I'll get a little bit more in depth with the grasp later on because it's a very crucial thing, but basically pressing that inner button is very important to grab things in the program. And as you can see, I'm messing around with the size of the brush as well, which easily can just be done by swiping left or right on the controller. And here you can see I activated the mirror tool. The mirror tool is really fun to play around with, especially for product design. You want to have everything symmetrical, so it is very fun just to do things with the mirror tool. And also, as you can tell, that red button there is the undo button as well on the right controller. So here I'm going to get into a little bit more of the advanced stuff. I'm using one of the pre-made 3D shapes, and I'm making a normal cube, which can easily be done with the triggers. And all you gotta do is select the controller or the item with your right controller, press that inner button, and then press the blue button on the left controller, and you can edit the shape. You can edit all three planes of the shape. As you could tell, for this project, I needed more of a flat square, so that's what I immediately did. Yep, and just to confirm it all, you just gotta press that blue button once more. And now I'm going to open up another feature called the subdivision feature, which basically you press with the same inner button on the right trigger or right controller there, and you just press that purple button, and you can open a mode called subdivision mode, which basically allows you to take the shape and morph it a little bit more than you would with just the generic 3 planes. By pressing that right trigger around the edge, you can create points that you can alter and create the shape of whatever you would like. And then by pressing subdivision on, you basically round out the shape to make it less geometrical, sorry. And with that inner button again, which is very crucial for anything with 3D modeling, you could basically mush the points together. You can also change the size of this grasp, as I said previously, by wiggling the controller up and down. You can make it bigger or smaller, so you can grab as many points as you would like all at once. Relatively, my experience with this is probably the most advanced part about Gravity Sketch. It is the part that requires the most skill, so if you don't get it on your first try, don't worry. Of course, this is not my first try, but I'm still learning the software, so it just takes a lot of practice since this is more of an intermediate program. I also learned starting off with the circle or square for your shape is really easy, since when you start off with a circle, you can really create an organic shape. When you start off with a square, you can create a more solidified shape. And also the mirror tool does work with subdivision mode. For this demonstration, I did not use it, but just letting you know, it also does work there as well. And to rotate your object in your space, basically you just press those two inner buttons and you can rotate the entire canvas all at once without moving anything in particular. And as you can see here, I'm just adjusting the ears because I noticed they were a little bit off. You can add points into your subdivision element at any moment or at any angle, as long as it is a corner, basically. So two planes need to be touching in order for you to put a point there. Yep, and as you can see, I turned the grid off just so you could see everything, and relatively, I was happy with the shape. Continuing off that shape we just previously made, I'm going to make some eyes for the character as well. So here I'm just creating the shape with the triggers, and I'm reopening up that same menu to adjust the size and dimension. Basically just take the right inner button and then press the blue button on the left controller, and then you can open and adjust all the planes of the shape. Yep, and then I take that same right inner button and I can twist the shape and place it onto the main shape as well. And once I do this on a platform or on the platform, I realize that it kind of considers it one big shape. So if I were to send this to a 3D printer, it wouldn't print two different shapes, it would print one whole shape, which can be great for product development and people who are doing 3D printing. So basically it merges the shapes all together. And here you can see I'm just readjusting the size of the eyes because I just wanted them to be very similar in shape. There is a duplicate tool that I didn't want to use for this demonstration, just to show you once again how to use that plane because it's so crucial, but you can also really dive into the tools into this program. And with the brush, I'm going to be using another brush that is a point-based brush. So basically, when you draw, you're not drawing a singular line, you're drawing points, and the program will naturally curve to follow those points. So right here, I'm just drawing a straight line for the nose, but here you can see I do around 5 points to create the curved mouth. As you can see, it kind of gives you a hologram of where the line will go. It's just a rough estimate. I've noticed sometimes it changes once you put down more and more points, especially if it's a smaller shape. And here I'm selecting the object with the subdivision mode. Once again, right inner trigger and then the blue button. And I'm placing some points just to make it a little bit more of a curved line. So it's very similar to how you would do it in other applications such as Photoshop or illustration to create those anchor points. Yep, and now I have a cute little adorable smile. I'm also using that point tool as well for the whiskers of the cat. It's very easy to use this tool, so it's one of my preferred tools. And once again, since these shapes are touching, it'll all 3D print as one whole shape. So the next tool I'm going to use is I'm going to select the color pink. So here's that color selector in action. It is a little difficult to use at first, but overall, once you start to get to learn it, you'll know. I'm using a mesh tool basically, or I believe it's called the ribbon tool. It's one of the flat dimension shapes where you just create like a net. All you gotta do is press two of the triggers at the same time, pull apart to create your shape, and then repress the right trigger to place down the object once you've created that shape that you like. So as you can see right now, that shape that it's making is not an actual shape, it is just a template of where it will go. And I do think this is a more challenging brush, but overall I do think the results look really nice, and whenever you just need a very flat surface, this does work, this does the job. Yep, and then I'm going to get that subdivision mode again. It's a little difficult sometimes when it's such a thin shape because the grasp is a circle. So it wants to grab everything in the shape, not just the plane. So I did struggle a little bit there. But then I just readjust it all. Yep, and then just press that blue button to confirm everything in your subdivision mode. And now we're going to look at some saved materials. I was just looking for the rubber that I was using for the whiskers because I accidentally deleted the whiskers somehow. But it does really help having those saved materials there that are already pre-made into the program. And here I'm going to show you how to change the color of your object. Basically by pressing that toolbar on the right button, you can use the color fill tool. I just wanted to show you some cool colors. Here is the metal tool, the metal color, sorry. It shows off all of the planes of the object, as you can tell, because they do not have the subdivision mode on, so it's a very geometrical shape. So the reflections in this program are phenomenal. And here's another mode I like. It's similar to the metal tool, but it's colored. So the top is lit by a pink and the bottom shadows are lit by a blue. So it's a very duochrome metal aesthetic. And then the next one I chose was the glass, which I do think is very, very interesting for a software to have. It does have complete glass physics, so if I flip it around, you can see everything through it. And yeah, just showing off those shapes, those colors. Here's another tinted glass one, which I thought was really nice. But see, it also has the see-through effect. Here I just wanted to show you off those colors again. You can also see here I'm teaching you about the select tool. So basically, if you turn that option to select everything really high, you can select everything in one grass and warp it around. You can also make the selection tool really small by going down on the controller, which will only select one object, so you can be more precise. And then if you simply press both of those inner buttons, you can move the entire plane, so it includes every single thing that you've made. Yep, and here I'm just giving you a little bit closer look at the shapes in the textures. That was the blue metal. Here is the regular metal, which you can see the reflection on the ground, which I think is very impressive. Here is the glass once again. The glass I think is one of my favorites personally. And then here I'm also showing you how to move them again, once again. And also by selecting the object, putting the trigger in the controller in the object and pressing that inner button, you can undo whatever you do, specifically that line. It doesn't need to be in any order that you place them down. Yep, and I'm just demonstrating that again. As you can see, the undo button turned into a little red line, which means specifically undo that or delete. And here I am showing off a bit more of the textures. This is one of the main selling features of this program, since these textures are very, very nice and can lead for really nice results, as you can tell by the beginning of the video where I had that card demonstrated that was in the lobby of the Gravity Sketch loading screen. And actually what I'm showing you right now is that if these textures don't completely fancy you, you can change any option about it. I turned the blue metal into a toon shaded object for a second there, which is completely different from what it is. You can also change the texture, you could change the material settings, the shadow settings, change the outline colors, anything about the shape in general. With textures, you can upload your own textures. I didn't have any on hand at the moment, but you can also mess around with that if you would like. And to conclude, I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy Gravity Sketch and learn a little bit more about the program itself. Challenge yourself, of course, and really just get to know the program. Thank you.